I've been contacted by a number of people asking for specific help regarding how to get started using the emotional reference chart. The emotional reference chart, of course, is an essential component for intentionally and consciously building new beliefs. And as you learn in my books, the quantum field accurately and perfectly always reflects our beliefs back to us. So when we want to experience a more pleasing material reality, our task is to intentionally and consciously grow our beliefs into alignment with our desires. In my books, I have an emotional reference chart, and to involve yourself in the protocol of intentionally raising your beliefs in a way that works in perfect synchronization with how your subconscious brain functions, you write your true feelings about your desire that's way out of alignment, and then you identify yourself on the emotional reference chart. So let's talk a minute about that. Let's use the example of financial abundance. If I am experiencing suffering with financial abundance and I want to raise my beliefs about financial abundance, the very first thing that I need to do is to write and get gut level honest about my true feelings about financial abundance. Now, you've read in my books, it's very important when we do this that we're not writing how we want to feel, how we think we ought to feel, how we think we should feel. We're not writing about our conscious efforts to think positively or give ourselves positive affirmation, as many of us have been taught to do. We're writing about how we really feel about this absent desire in our life. So if financial abundance is the desire, I'll sit down and give myself permission to really feel my real feelings about financial abundance. A good way to do this is to state positively my desire in this manner. I'll tell myself, Greg, you are financially abundant. You have everything you desire regarding money. You don't have money problems. You don't have money worries. You can afford to live your life exactly the way you want it to. And then I pay attention to how I really feel about that. Not how it would feel if those things were true, but how it really feels after stating those desires in a positive manner, how it really feels to know and see and experience that they are absent. Okay, so we want to divorce ourselves of any how we think we ought to feel about it feelings. And I sit down and I write about how I really feel, and I'm gonna write things like, I will never have any more than just enough money. Lately, it appears that I will never even have enough. I'm angry about being stuck. Nothing ever seems to come of my efforts to make a break from my failures with money. I feel doomed. It doesn't seem like I'm ever going to be able to escape, and I feel like I'm to blame. I'm not worthy. I mean, everything needs work. We've got debt. Everything's in disrepair. I can't afford to fix it. Things just get worse, and I can't work any harder. There's no doubt that money is the root of all evil. Uh, and I'm afraid to ask for money. If I focus on money, I'm being selfish. I'm being unspiritual. Um, if I have material wealth, others are going to be jealous of me and angry with me, and they're going to feel like I'm pompous. People that have lots of money don't have good relationships with their family. It'll Having more money will put a wedge between me and others. And the bottom line is, I really don't feel like I'm worthy of having money. I'm just not one of those people. I'm not good enough. I'm not a lucky person. I don't have the right connections. I don't, have the right mindset. I have too many challenges, and I'm very angry about that. No matter how much I make, there's never enough to cover all the bills, and there's never enough to do the things that I want to do for me and for my family and to have the things that we want to have. Okay, so your writing may not sound exactly like that, but I think you get the idea. That's my gut level, honest feeling about financial abundance. So when I'm done, when it feels like my gut has been running out like a sponge, when I've emotionally vomited, those unpleasant feelings and perspectives, yet honest feelings and perspectives, then I'm going to pull out the emotional reference chart and I'm going to look at it. And I probably will have a dictionary in hand so I can look up definitions to have some confidence in what I decide. And I'm going to look down on that chart. And from the writing I just described, I'm going to look at that chart and I see that what I just wrote really is most aptly labeled depression and hopelessness. And then I say to myself, yes, depression and hopelessness. That is a good description of how I really feel about money. I try to deny that feeling a lot. I try to distract myself from that feeling a lot. I try to justify and rationalize the absence of money in my life so that I don't have to feel that feeling. But now that I've given myself permission to be honest about it, now that I've written and written and written until my gut feels empty, I can really see, looking back on my writing and now being fully in touch with those real feelings, that indeed depression and hopelessness is where I am. And that's how we identify where we start on the emotional reference chart. Of course, we don't stay there. We begin to intentionally move our way up. And the good news is, well, two pieces of good news. One is when you do this, you will not be creating a monster. You will not be manifesting more bad things by doing this. The quantum field has always been reflecting these beliefs back to you, no matter how consciously you ignored these feelings and beliefs, no matter how much you distracted yourself. You can never lie to the quantum field. The quantum field has always only been able to reflect your actual beliefs. So all you've done is shine a light in the closet. You didn't create a monster by doing this. You've flicked on the light and let it all out in the open, but it's always been there. And then number two, as you involve yourself in the protocol, as I teach in my books, the very next day you can get started living your way into the next belief, the next most positive belief on the emotional reference chart. And when you do that, because you will live your way into that in a very believable manner that your subconscious brain will absolutely accept and embrace, you're going to see reflections that are slightly more improved than the previous emotional perspective, because that's what the quantum field does. So right from the start, you will be involved in the solution. You will be involved in the process, and your universe will be slightly more positive. I'm so glad you're playing Grow Greater You. I'm so glad you're joining in with me and thousands of other people on this wonderful journey